Welcome, welcome, everybody. Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon, and we are here for our Sunday live. Welcome, Ray. Welcome, Silver Stranger, and we got to talk. You got to tell me what's going on. That is not what I want to hear when you make that decision. But let's talk about it and see if maybe it's something that isn't as big a deal, or if it's something that maybe I can give you some suggestions on. But let's hope that we can work through it, and you can come out on the other side and have a great Memorial Day weekend and a great time on the water. So, all right. If you want Silver Stranger, go ahead and just put in any of your comments. Kind of tell me what happened. It didn't start. Tell me as much as you can, or if you would rather, if you want to get on the phone tomorrow and just have a personal conversation, I'd be happy to do that too. You've always been a great supporter of the channel and everything, so be happy to get on the phone with you for a conversation. Just let me know, and I'll send you a link to my calendar, and we can do that. I think I'm fairly open tomorrow, so just let me know. But Ray, good to have you. Hopefully, you're all ready for Memorial Day, and had a chance to practice a little bit. I wanted to show two things. The starter and the flywheel are at war with each other, trying to see who can destroy it first. Okay, so there's a serious mechanical issue. Um, they depending on availability, they may be able to just swap out the motor, depending on how far along your paperwork is, and issue a replacement as a warranty. That's happened before. Talk to the dealer, talk to the manufacturer, and that would be the first thing that I would do if they're having something that's irreversible, that hey, it's just there's some malfunction or manufacturing defect. That would be my route. But again, I'll offer that up if you want to talk through it, and even just to have a sounding board to talk through what you're going through, and maybe I can offer some advice, if not just a listening ear to help you out. Brian, welcome, good evening. Daniel Larson, welcome, good evening. I appreciate it. I appreciate that for sure. And I wanted to show two things. Let's see how I'm going to do this here. Bear with me just for a moment. And I am going to. All right. All right. So I am going to show. Let's see. The first one I'm going to show is. Let's go with Bills. So, come on. There we go. All right. So this is. There we go. This is a video of welcome, Steve Davis. Good, Ray. Glad to hear. This is Bill Scott. He's down in Florida, and he has was a Stingray, I think. Yes, a Stingray. He had just taken delivery of a Stingray. He bought the best boat captain on the water course, and he sent me a video of his docking the first attempt. So this is him, and I don't know if the system audio is going to play. Let me see if I can make sure that gets turned on. Because it was pretty good. It's a pretty typical experience. So I'm going to turn it up if. So this is him coming in. He's got a seawall right here. He's got some wind and current. You can see the flag in the background there blowing this way. So he's doing a great job of crabbing in. He's got the guides on his lift, which are great, and you can see the bunks down here. So he's crabbing in and out of gear, nice and slow. He does a fantastic job. If you hear that, you're kind of off center. He's crabbing in. And he's kicking the back end around. This is where he comes out of gear here. Kicks it in one more time and gets that back end to swing around, which is perfect. And then here he gets a little nervous and wants to grab on, but he did a great job. But I appreciate him sharing that with me. That's one of the very first times going into his home slip with a brand new boat, and he's got that seawall right there, which so he can't get too far over. He said he was real close to. There's some rocks down right past the seawall, some riprap, I guess, and you can see that wind was going pretty good. You can see the current going pretty good, and he did a fantastic job. But I love seeing that. If any of you guys have the ability to videotape yourself, I sent him some suggestions on, hey, you did great. Here's 2 things that you can do. Just hold that crab a little bit longer and use that in gear. Don't stop driving the boat. Always be driving the boat, and you'll get that total control and get it in. So that was a great one to see. And I loved that the wife saying, "Oh, you're coming in crooked or you're off center." You've got to block out. If you know what you're doing, sometimes you got to block out what other people are saying, because they may not understand exactly why you're doing it the way you did. So I wanted to share that with you, because I was pretty excited to see people come in there. Brock, you're very welcome. That some other people, I think, I don't know anybody else that's on, signed up to be the ambassador, boatersecretweapon.com/ambassador, and just send a quick little thank you out as you join this little sticker, just a small free gift. And it gives you access to an easy way to share our content if you want to do that. And then over time, send you some swag, like the shirt I sent to Ray when he shared our information with his homeowner association at his condo at the lake. So I appreciate everybody that joined that. We had a pretty good response. I think we had 10 or 12 folks that signed up when I checked on Friday. Picking up the pontoon in a couple of weeks. Thanks for all the help. You're welcome, Richard. Congratulations. That is fantastic. If this is your first one, make sure you grab the Boater Boot Camp. There's just a lot of great information in there that I think you'll be glad you have as a first-time boat owner. And that's free at boaterbootcamp.com. 68 Camaro. Hit the like button, of course. Thank you for that. Let's see. Brian is picking his boat up Friday. Switch for the pontoon Bimini needs replaced. A little nervous about the first weekend. Feel more confident. Yeah, that if you can, Brian, if it's feasible, try to take that boat out Friday when you get it. The water will be a little bit busy, but it won't be real busy. It won't be as busy on Friday, and depending on where you're at. And then also Saturday early morning, if you can get out there and just like Bill did in his video, if you can get out there where you don't have to worry about traffic, wind is typically less in the morning. So you can get out there and you can practice in good conditions without too much going on. The Power Bimini, just listen to the advice your dealer gives you. I know there's a couple manufacturers that have been having some issues with that. And so that's awesome that you're actually getting out on the water. And congratulations on that. So, and Ray, yeah, practicing in the wind is a recipe for strain and struggle. Although as you progress, getting that practice gives you a lot of confidence, so that hey, I can get blown around a little bit and I'm still got control of my pontoon. And so you should be, you continue to progress throughout the season. This will be Memorial Day weekend, will be a big one. Be cautious and be safe out there. If you are hitting the water, know that there's going to be a lot of first time boaters that haven't seen any of our content. They don't know the etiquette. They don't know the rules. They may be just partying it up like crazy. So just pay extra attention during the holiday weekends. I will be out there on Loudon Lake and Tellico in Tennessee. And, we'll go and just hang out in our cove. But I'm extra cautious, especially that first Memorial Day weekend, because so many people are going to struggle with boat handling, with rules, with etiquette, just with the basics. So, all right, let me get a couple questions. I'm going to show you the second thing that I wanted to show you. If you're new to the lives, just in the comments, just go ahead and put your comment in there, and I will just go through an order. If you happen to be a subscriber, supporting member, it'll give me a little notation, and I'll move you to the top as well. First time trying to take his boat out. Drove for 2 hours to the coast to go fishing. Launch it. Yeah. If you can get that practice in, before you hit that big holiday weekend, and even Memorial Day, if you go out early on Saturday, 8 o'clock, the ramp's going to be pretty quiet in most areas. If you go out on Friday, if you take delivery at, lunchtime, the water's going to be fairly calm until 3-4 o'clock on Friday is when it usually starts to pick up. People taking off early. A handful of people are going to take off Thursday and head to wherever their water is. But do take that practice because you'll be much more confident. And even just, like Richard said, or no, who was that? Oh, somebody said it. Just watching the videos will give you a lot more confidence than not on the best boat captain, the best pontoon captain. Let's see. Jamil recently bought a Four Winds. Congratulations. That's awesome. First boat, Midwest, 5 and under. Can you speak about Four Winds brand? Hope I made a good choice. Yeah. So, Jamil, where are you in the Midwest? Just curious, because I'm a Nebraska guy. So, I am a Midwestern guy as well. So Four Winds is a solid boat. They've been building boats for a long time. They've gone through some ownership changes, but I put them in the mid-tier category. If you haven't seen this video here, best, worst, best and worst bow riders in today's market. This was done a year ago, and I've got new ones of these coming out. They're 8 months, 11 months, and a year ago. I'm in the works of putting these together, and I've got thousands and thousands of pictures and hundreds of boats that I personally inspected at boat shows this year. And it's a huge project to put those together, but I think they're some of the more valuable videos I do for new boat shoppers specifically. So, but I put them in the mid tier. They're a good, solid boat. Here's the thing that Illinois. Okay, great. Here's the thing that's going to make the big difference for you, Jamil, is making sure that you have a good relationship with your dealer, making sure that you do the maintenance properly, know how to operate your boat, especially with your kids on the water with you. And one of the first things I would do, if you haven't, is grab that boater boot camp and go through it. If you've got a little bit of nervous about handling the boat, the best boat captain is fantastic. I just showed you Bill on his, and that's first time boater putting it in the dock, pretty darn good. There's a few improvements he could have made, but I mean, that's a pretty slick attempt into his dock with some wind and current and a seawall right in the way. So, but as far as the Four Winds, yeah, you made a good choice. That 180 with the 115, you're going to be in pretty good shape. The 150 would have given you a little bit more power, but for the first boat, I think you're going to have a lot of fun. Just learn what you need to learn to operate it safely, and definitely that boater boot camp will teach you the things you need to know so you don't cause any expensive damage. And it gives you some basics of the rules of the road, some basic safety stuff that you need as well. So congratulations, man. That's awesome. Um, Center console has cracks in it. Tied the mount to the throttle. Um, where they tried to mount the throttle. Interesting. Yeah, Silver Stranger, that sucks, man. That is not what you want to have happen when you first take delivery of your boat. Again, this is why I say the dealer is so important. A lot of these things can be handled and by a good solid dealer. So just keep working with the dealer. Hopefully they will they'll step up and thanks, Silver Stranger. Again, like I said, you've always been a great supporter, and I appreciate that for sure. And again, if you just want a sounding board or just to talk it over, drop me an email, I'll get you my calendar, and we can get on the phone. Um, Brock, I used to hate boating in the weather with my dad, taught me how to handle the boat, worst conditions, so you're ready for the fair days. It's really amazing how much your confidence skyrockets when you get out in some wind, you get out, you get caught in a storm. Not that you want to do it. And you're like, this is a hairy situation. That what's that meme that goes around? Everybody wants to be a captain until it's time to do captain shit. And I'm like, that's exactly right. Everybody wants to drive the boat and everybody wants to be a boater, and then you get caught in a tough situation, extra current, extra wind, storm picks up, but you know the basics of how your boat run with the best boat captain with the 9 building blocks. You get it, you practice some like Ray has, like Bill did. And yeah, that storm comes up and you're like, hey, I got it. I've done this before. I've done the work and I've got the confidence. So that that's for sure. I Everybody wants to be a captain until it's time to do captain shit. That's that one's always got me chuckling. I've already warned the family that if I feel uncomfortable, just hang out at the dock. So, yeah, I remember as a kid, we had our first boat, which was a 16-foot Larson Tri-Haul with a 85 Mercury. Now we boated on this little teeny tiny lake in Fremont, Nebraska, which was like a basically a circle with an island in the middle, and it was maybe, I don't know, 5 lanes wide is all the wider it was. And so people just would be right up on you. And Memorial Day weekend, what we did is we left the boat at home and we just went to we just went to the lake. And we'd hang out at the lake, have some watermelon and picnic. And then we would go on Tuesday after Memorial Day, when dad got off work at like 4 or 5 o'clock, he would take off a little early and we would have the whole lake to ourselves. I was like, that is the way to do it. So you use your common sense, and that's a very wise game plan, and get the family on board early. Yeah, weekdays. It's Ray. I just told the story about my dad. There's Rob. What's Rob's last name? Up in North Carolina. He's been on the podcast, retired, and he's like, that's what we do. He's like, we go out during the week, get the grandkids, and we have the whole lake to ourselves. And it's fantastic if you can do it. Not everybody has that type of schedule, but my dad had his own business, and mom babysat, so she usually was done with the kids by 3 or 4 o'clock, and that's when we hit the water. Yeah, that's the Memorial Day weekend is one of the hairiest. But like I said, if you know what you're doing and you're paying extra attention, you can be safe and have a good time. Just know what you're doing and have control of your boat for sure. Um, and again, Silver Stranger, thank you very, very much. Don't be afraid to ask someone at the dock. I've helped several new boaters get their boat on the trailer. Yeah, the great thing about boating, and I think this community is perfect example of it. Most boaters are friendly. Most boaters are helpful. Most boaters are willing to, like I did the other day, come across a boat that was broken down. And hey, I barely made it to my call that I needed to make. Now, most people don't have calls that they've got to take while they're on the water, but I had 5 minutes to spare from dropping them off and making it to my call. But most boaters will do that. Most boaters will help you out if you ask. If you're like, man, this is my first time, and if you could help me out, I've helped people back at the ramp as well, and you're don't have any issues with pride. Oh, I should be able to do it. If you've never backed a trailer, doing it Memorial Day weekend is going to be one of the most challenging because you're going to be stressed. You're going to have an audience. It's going to be backed up. There's going to be people waiting for you, and there's somebody there that will help you out, and there's somebody that would be glad to do it, and you can get on the water and then take that time to practice the the trailer like a pro. That's one of my programs where I show you some of the tips on how to do it yourself. But one of the biggest things that you can do is practice, 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 and that understanding your boat, how deep you need to go in. But this is gives you really shortens the learning curve, and then don't be afraid to ask anybody for help at any time. A dockhand at the dock, somebody that looks like they know what they're doing on the water, and they certainly can help you out. Went with the suggested marina in Hartwell, make the difference in the long run. That's awesome, Richard. Hartwell's a beautiful lake, not too far, probably 2.5 hours, depending on where you're going. It's a pretty big lake, but it is nice. I'm glad that worked out for you. Glad that worked out for you, Richard. So, all right. All right, as we're waiting for more comments to come in, I don't think I've missed anybody here. Um, Daniel, I think we got Brian. Okay, yeah, Brian's the one that said he's watched it before he's even got the boat delivered, and Rhonda from Myrtle Beach got a Bennington, a Barletta pontoon, and she did the same thing. She watched it before she took delivery. She took delivery of the boat, and she was like, "Man, I totally impressed the salesperson. He was blown away by the control I had." And I told him it was best boat captain on the water, Captain Matt. So, all right. So this is the second thing I wanted to show you. I don't do this to um, disparage any brand by any means. I want to show you the why I think it's important to inspect your new boat. We had the example of Silver Stranger, his situation, and going through that. But this is a client that got their first time boat buyer academy. We had talked, and he took delivery of his hurricane deck boat. You know, mid-tier value to maybe up to mid-tier. And he started taking on water in its bilge on his first time out. So he started digging into it, and this is what he found. He took this back cap off. Let me make that bigger. He took this back cap off right here, which is a finishing piece. Trying to figure out, hey, where is this water coming from? And this is what he found under that finishing piece. It's why inspecting boats is so difficult because, man, that looks right. That's the way it should be. Um, but when you take that finishing piece off, you're like, well, that's not right. You can see the fiberglass right there, and that looks to me like filler. And same thing on the other side, not quite as bad. I don't know what happened there, but water can get up under there, and it can be an issue. So, how would you figure this out at the time? Well, you would do, and I don't know if he did or not, but do a on water sea trial before you take delivery. And I talk about this in the First Time Boat Buyer Academy. I talk about it in a way of, hey, inspect everything, check the bilge to see what it's like when you take off, and then check it when you come back. So it could have been identified early. Hopefully, I've been going back and forth with it on email, trying to help them out of, hey, here's the way I would approach it with the dealer and things like that. But just even if you're buying a new boat, inspect it, do the on-water sea trial, because little things like that can come up. The same thing, let's see, boat maker, insurance company, finance company. Yeah, that's what you need to do is at times, um, uh, there's my email, Silver Stranger, captain at Boat Buyer Secret Weapon, will get to me. But that is exactly the kind of the exactly the reason I give that advice. It's not like buying a new Ford F-150 where, you know, you're in good shape. Like, you can buy that thing, you can go to the lot, do all the paperwork online and drive home, and you're 99.9999999% certain that you're good to go. On a boat, you could be 90% certain that it's good to go, but I don't want to be that 10% that has an issue like that has an issue like Silver Stranger. And right now, that number is probably closer to 85% that there's something. Now, usually not major, but you find those things out when you do the sea trial, when you inspect it fully, before you sign the paperwork, before you do all that. And it may sound like I'm kind of as my daughters would say, a nervous Karen, but it really can save your butt. And again, that 20% of the time, I'll take an extra 30 minutes of the dealer's time to inspect it, to do the on-water trial, an extra couple of hours before I write a 30, 40, 80, 90, $200,000 check. So that's my advice to everybody that's still in the shopping phase. Don't be afraid to ask somebody. Yep, for sure. We talked about that. Um, talked about that. All right. So you got my email. We'll have a conversation, a conversation and try to make the best of the situation. But years ago, but was taking water in the bilge. Turned out they never connected the intake hose. Okay, yeah, that's a big one. Again, running all the systems. One, because it helps you understand when somebody's there. This switch is that pump. This switch is that pump. This is where the seacock is to turn it on and off. And oh, by the way, you've got the bilge open so you can see. You're like, oh, it's not filling up. What's going on? Open that bilge. Now you see what's going on. I do it if I'm running a stern drive. That's not a usual boat that I run. I'm going to open that engine compartment up before I even start it up. I've I've been in too many boats where a freeze plug didn't get put back in, where there's, a because I ran boats that were, hey, I'm just running this for a customer, or I'm getting ready to sell this boat, or we're taking it on trade, and I've never seen the boat before, and a plug's not in. It happens, and just that inspection, you can find a number of little things that can be a big, huge headache. And if I'm writing a check for a boat, I'm going to be thorough on making sure that I don't get in a bad situation. So I wanted to show that. And like I said, again, just like Silver Stranger, I want to make sure that if I can give some advice and help in any way, that that I do that. And not that I've got connections that are going to pull any strings or anything. Although there was a guy that had an issue with his Barletta the other day, and I was able to connect him with the VP of sales and the president of the company. So hopefully, I don't know where that's going to go, but I made that connection, and I'll let them hopefully get it straightened out. So, okay, Silver Stranger, I just saw I just saw your email come through, so I will, when we finish up, I will shoot you the message. Um, yeah, I would the manu or the lender, they have recourse to pull back their funding if a loan has issues in the first 90 days. And if you talk to the lender about the situation, you're gonna get some leverage there. You're not gonna make any friends, but there's some leverage to be had there. But the funds have already been sent, and you know, in this situation, it's about greasy wheel, squeaky wheel gets the grease. And especially right now, they're busier than they've ever been all season, trying to get boats on the water, boats delivered, boats coming in. And so you're going to have to make a little bit of a ruckus. And the good thing, it's a smaller manufacturer, so you should be able to get to the owner of the company and have a conversation with them and make that work. So, all right, what else do I got? As again, if you're new here, just go ahead and put your question in the comments, and I will answer those. I had those two things I wanted to talk about. What else do I have? Um, I tried to do, as we came into Memorial Day, the boating etiquette, mistakes at the boat ramp, trying to get some just some and the boating rules in 5 minutes. I was like, all right, what can I do to give the most information out there? So that's been recent stuff. And there is, let's see. Oh yeah, this one that came out today. That's me towing a guy that that waved me down as I was heading up to do some filming and do a phone call on Lake Wiley. And so I towed him in, and he was very appreciative. But again, boaters are friendly, and they're usually willing and able to help you out and provide some assistance when needed. Preference on regular dock lines, bungee lines, floating dock, flood control, lake. So my preference is always just a either a braided, the double braided. Matter of fact, oh crap. I I carry some in my boat bag, which I've got all my camera equipment, and I've just got a couple extra dock lines because I run a variety of boats when I'm doing my filming. And it is I like the double braided uh, dock line. You can match it to your boat. It's real nice. And let's see, Brian, you've got, what pontoon do you have? Um, I think so. You're probably going to go with the Um, 3/8 is probably right. You may, depending on how big your cleat is, you wanna be able to get it through fit it through the cleat and wrap it around the horns. That's gonna be the best way. And some of the pontoons have really teeny tiny cleats on them, so you may have to go with a half inch, but 3/8 is probably the right size. And then you can color match. White is gonna be the strongest, but with the pontoon on a flood control lake, you're not gonna break a dock line unless things get way out of hand, and then that's the least of your worries is your dock line going. The party barge 22, yeah. So um, go and get take a look at your cleat, and then take a look at the 3/8 in the half inch dock line, and decide, okay, I can make this, it's going to fit through, and I can wrap it around the horns. That's going to be a nice secure line. That's what I prefer. You can also go with um I like I like the double braided because it's nice and clean. I don't like the bungee lines, and here's why I don't like the bungee lines is I don't have control. of how they're going to be tied up. If you look with the bungee lines, you've got loops on both sides, and if you need to adjust because the cleat's here and I need it to be tighter, or I need it to be a little looser, I don't have that control. Whereas when I know how to do a cleat hitch, a proper cleat hitch, and you, Brian, you learned that in the best pontoon captain, I can loop it through the cleat on my boat side, and I'm secure there. And now I can do my cleat hitch, boom, and I'm good. And I can adjust my lines. I can use a spring line if I need to, and that's going to be good. Yeah, the Better Boat dock lines and fenders. I did a video. Let's see here. They were nice enough. Better Boat. They were nice enough to send me how to tie to a side dock. Their dock lines and their fender whips and their fenders were, a matter of fact, I bought the fender whips and from them, and just a good quality. But how to tie a boat on a side dock, Better Boat fenders and dock lines, they do a great job. And I like their fenders. I also like the Polyform fenders because they're soft and they're rubbery. Some of the fenders are like a hard plastic, no good. I don't like those. I like the soft. You can pump them up with air if you want them a little bit firmer or a little bit softer. You can deflate them, but that's my preference with the double braided dock line. I also, especially if you live on the lake. So, the this dock line here, I don't know why I'm blanking on the 3-strand. Yeah, the 3-stranded line is also great. What I like about that, if you live on the water, is you can get a spool of it, because here's what will happen. You're going to need line and rope for a number of different things. And you can usually get that triple strand, that 3-strand line. It's less expensive than getting a spool of the double braided, but I like the double braided because they've got the pre-rigged loop on one end, and then it's a free end on the other side. That's, for me, I like that as my dock lines. 4 dock lines, at least, maybe 6, depending on if you're going to bars and restaurants, if you go to other docks. There's going to be times where 4 dock lines and the placement of the cleats on your boat and the dock aren't going to allow you to tie up securely. And that's what the extra 2 are for. You can set up spring lines to get that boat exactly where you want it, so your motor's not smashing, so your bow's not smashing. And that's why I like to have 6 dock lines on the boat in most cases, but a minimum of 4. So, all right. I think I more than answered that. I think I started going a little off topic, but that's why I like it that way. You're welcome, Brian. You're welcome. Jamil, would you recommend newer boater used to launching their new boat? Should they get a slip? Okay, so I would not put that 4 winds and store it in a slip unless I could put a lift in. It's not good for the lower unit. You're going to get grime and algae and stuff growing on the bottom. I wouldn't paint the hull. Put bottom paint on that boat is going to drop the value like a rock, because most people are going to trailer that boat. What I would do is I would get just competent at backing the trailer down and loading it, unloading it. I don't know, Jamel, how old your kids are. What I will tell you though is that with the best boat captain, with the trailer like a pro, is you can get very, very competent very, very quickly trailering your boat when you go through that program. And not just go through that program. That's the starting point to get the knowledge you need. Then going to the boat ramp on a Tuesday afternoon, by yourself, with your wife, with your oldest kid, if they're going to be able to help you out, a fellow boater that you know, go to the ramp and practice backing. Okay. You can even do this in just a shopping center parking lot at midnight when there's nobody else around and you can practice backing. Okay. Go into a commercial parking lot on a Saturday that you have all to yourself. There's no light posts or anything that are going to be in the way. You can get a nice open area and you can practice backing. Use the lines of the parking lot to back, put some cones out, get some rope, whatever, some way, just so you can say, all right, there's the ramp and I'm going to come from this way. I'm going to come from that way, whatever your local ramps that you're going to use most often, what that setup look like. Okay. So not much help. He said, 5, 2, and 6 months. So not a whole lot of help. I've got a 8 and a 10-year-old and they can help do a lot of things. But, at 5 and 2, our rule was the 2-year-old got strapped in the car seat before we did anything, and the 5-year-old had to be in the truck. That was our rule when we came back in. It was get them strapped down, get them locked away so that they're not getting run over or causing me headache as we're doing those things. So, but go practice your backing. If you've never backed a trailer, you can pick it up pretty quickly. That's a lot of practice and repetition. And once you get it, you'll be in good shape. One of the tricks that I show on the Trailer Like a Pro is hand on the bottom. If I go this way, the trailer's going to go that way. If I go that way, the trailer's going to follow. Um, I talk through a bunch of different ones because everybody learns different. Everybody likes to do it different. And so I talk through all that, but I try to teach you how it works so that you can understand it and figure out what works best in your vehicle. And then go to the boat ramp on a Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon when nobody else is there and just back it down and figure out how deep do I need to back? When does it start floating? When is it just barely floating? And then, if you don't have the handling ability, the best boat captain will get you that. And then just practice driving it on the trailer, driving it on and getting it hooked up, pull out, back it down again, back it off, and just keep doing that over and over. And you do that 3 or 4 times at the boat ramp on a Tuesday. Go back one other day, and you'll be shocked at how quickly your skills get ramped up. And then hopefully the advice of getting those kids locked down in their car seats in the truck, I'm telling you, it just makes everything easier. One of you is in charge of the kids, locked away in the truck, 2-year-old, 6-month-old in the car seat, and the 5-year-old, depending on how well behaved they are, sitting in the front seat, or hey, you got to be strapped down to your car seat, buddy. That's just the way it is when we go boating. And what I found with my girls is they love boating so much that all we had to do is say, if you can't behave on this part of boating, then we can't do the fun part of boating. So you got to do your part. Otherwise you don't get to do the fun stuff. And that worked for my girl. So, reach out to someone at a marina sooner or later. The boat's going to have to come out. Yeah, and if I don't know, Jamil, where in Illinois you are, and I've got a video that I've been working on. I need a little bit more footage to put this one together, but a dry stack marina, I think, is one of the best options out there. If you don't know what a dry stack marina is, it is, let's see here. The Morningstar has a bunch of them. The dealership that I worked at was a dry stack, but it's this right here. It is like a bunch of shelving units that they put boats in. Your four winds would stack easily. They usually go by the foot, and they pick it up with a forklift. They'll set you on the dock. Maybe they have an app, but you can kind of see it here. They'll pick you up with the forklift, then they'll put you in. There we go. There's the forklift. They'll put you in the water. You come, load up at the dock. You come back, you tie it up. Maybe you put the cover on, the bimini down. Maybe they do that for you, depending on the marina itself. Raise your lower unit up, and then they bring that forklift back and they slide you in, and then they come back when you need to. That's an awesome way to go, because you don't even need the trailer, um, if you don't want it. Your boat's out of the weather. Most of them are going to be covered. Some of them are even full on buildings, but you've got to be in a big enough boating area. And in Illinois, there's a handful of them that I know have it, but there's also some that will do trailer storage, and they'll put you in with their tractor. So they're actually the one backing it down. All you've got to do is either back it off the trailer, or they'll tie it up. But that really depends on where you're at and what their services are. Boat setter, boat sharing. Okay, so truck diver, yes, I use boat setter all the time. When I went down to Charleston and ran a 21 sea hunt to do some videos, you may have seen my Charleston videos where I was in Shim Creek and just monkeying around in between the single engine outboard version of Best Boat Captain, which is I've got to go back down in a couple weeks and finish that up. But weather and coordinating have been difficult. But I use Boat Setter for that all the time when I need to get a specific video and a specific style of boat. It's super easy. I've interviewed the vice president of um, let's see, of Boat Setter. That one's Shea Unity, I think. And I've interviewed somebody at Get My Boat. They're the same thing. They're Airbnb of boating, basically. But I've talked to both of them. I've used both of their services as a renter, and I know some people that are renting their boats as the owner. What I like about them is you can get the insurance, commercial insurance, to rent your boat, and they put a rental policy. So you don't have to go to your insurance company and say, "Hey, I'm going to be renting my boat out." They'll write you a policy for 5, 7, 10, $20 for that outing, depending on your boat, how long it's going to be, a number of different factors. Then all of the money goes through Boat Setter or Get My Boat. And so there's no messing, there's no rigmarole. Depending on the style of boat you have, you can say, nope, you can't just rent my boat. You have to have a captain. And then a Coast Guard licensed captain can run your boat, and they can get a captain to run your boat. So you know somebody competent is running the boat. You can also say, I'll rent my boat to you, but you have to have some boating experience. And when you rent, it'll say, do you have any boating safety courses or whatever? So I'll put, I've got South Carolina boating safety. I've got my OUPV. I've got my master's. I've been boating for 40 years. And you give a little bio of your boating history. And now you can say, oh, you've never run a boat before. Well, you can't. I've got some other clients that say you can, or not clients, but other people I know that say you can rent it, but you have to do an hour training with me first, or 2 hours training with me first before I'll let you go out of my boat. And I know one guy that he rents his pontoon. He's actually got two of them. He picked up another one last year because it was working so well, sold his business, lives at the lake, has two rental properties at the lake, and he has two pontoons to go with them, so that you can rent the house and the pontoon. And he said in, what was it, 2020, it was a 22-foot pontoon with a 115, I think, nice boat, but nothing fancy. He said he made 20 grand in the first year that he owned it. That worked out so well. He bought the second one, and he's retired. He lives at the lake. He's very successful, but he loves boats. He's always been around boats. He's got the rental properties, and he does it with Get My Boat and Boat Setter. He's on both of them, and he does the little training if they have never run a boat before. Or if they're not willing to do that and they have no experience, he's like, then I can't rent you this boat. So I like it, but be cautious because you don't just want any, Tom, Dick, or Harry running your boat if they don't know what they're doing. Did you say on new pontoons you would not do anything to treat? Yeah, on sustainability for me, pontoon logs in the raw aluminum that they get shipped. All I'm going to do is I'm going to scrub them with the scrub brush when I pull it out, and I'm going to clean it. Or if I leave it in the water all the time, I'm going to take that scrub brush and I'm going to knock any algae off, and I'm going to pull it once or twice a year, depending on how warm the water is, how stagnant the water is, to power wash the tubes so that that growth will really really slow you down. But I'm just going to put them out there because here's what my experience has been. Now, maybe I'm not seeing everything, but these guys that spend all their time polishing their tubes, a month later, you can't tell in most situations. Maybe there's something that I'm not aware of that they're putting on that's making it last longer, but I'm not seeing boats in July that have that shininess on the tubes that I saw Memorial Day weekend. That's my personal preference. I am also, just full disclosure, I am a stock guy. The only thing that I'm going to upgrade on my boat typically is going to be the stereo and the speakers if they're not good. Everything else, I'm not a gadget guy. I'm not a LED lights and this little thing and that little thing. Hey, I've got my cooler, I've got everything I need to run the boat, and I've got some water toys and the floats and the Mabels and the noodles. Um, and I'm gonna wipe down my boat with the wet towels at the end of the day, wipe down the interior with the drier ones, wipe down the exterior with the wetter ones, and I'm gonna clean it off. I'm not gonna boat bling it. I'm not gonna do all that stuff because I know if I keep the boat waxed, if I wipe it down and I wipe the sunscreen and the dirt off, and I clean it, every couple of weeks, and it's gonna last a long, long time. That's my mentality, and I think it goes to the same thing with the tubes. Is I it's gonna be fine. It's not gonna look that much different than the guy that spends 3 grand to get them all polished up and put the shark hide on it, which is gonna look like crap in 2 years, because or 3 years because it's gonna wear off, and now you gotta strip it, and you gotta start over, and it's a big, huge pain in the butt. But, so that's my personal kind of bias as well, if you wanna look at it that way. So, all right, let's see here. Hopefully sustainability that answers your question there. But I have looked at the oh crap. Um there's what's the black stuff that they're putting on Vantage Guard. Um so they're selling this dealers are selling this Vantage Guard product, which is basically just a material that it's almost like a heavy duty wrap that they're putting on the top part of the tunes so that if it bumps into the dock or it's better protected. I've talked to dealers that use this stuff and they say it's great. Now they're making a bunch of money on it, so that could have something to do with why they're so happy with it. But some guys that I trust that are in the industry and are at marinas that see these boats over and over and over have been impressed with the Vantage Guard. Let's see if yeah, here we go. This Aqua Patio's got it. So, yeah, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I won't but it's sort of a rubber, it's real thick. This is kind of like a heavy duty wrap kind of feel to it or look to it. But again, I want to see it in 5 years. What does it look like in 5 years? And if there's adhesive there It's going to be a nightmare getting all that adhesive cleaned off and then doing what you're going to do next. And that's what I'm against. I'm like, you're just making more work for yourself. It better work really, really well and last a really long time, in my opinion. So, all right. Car seats on the boat? No. 2-year-old. No, and I don't know, Dennis, what kind of boat you have. Here's the struggle that you need to think about is if something terrible happens and your 2-year-old, it's more with like a 6-month-old or a 1-year-old. If your kid is in a car seat and for whatever reason they end up in the water, their life jacket is not buoyant enough to float them and the car seat. If that makes sense. That's my fear of car seats and boats. What we did is we would put our daughter, we would take the stroller on the boat and her life jacket would be on and she would sit in the stroller and then but we didn't have that issue. Okay. Um, as a toddler, it is all hands on deck. For us, my youngest was on the boat when she was 3 months old, and ever since, my oldest was on the boat when she was, like, 2 months old. We took her to the Lake of the Ozarks to my family's place when she was, like, 6 weeks, and we were out on the boat, and, it just life jacket in somebody's hand at that age with a 2-year-old, in my experience, is it is somebody within arm's reach all the time. The pontoon's a little bit better because, it's kind of a gate, but if there's a duck, if there's sparklies, whatever on the water, the sun's shining, they're going to be leaning over that thing. And so we had a rule that if I was driving, my wife was in charge of the oldest or the youngest, who was, a little bit more adventure than our oldest, and our oldest was either on my lap or sitting butt in a seat somewhere. So you've got to be vigilant about keeping track of them. And but the good thing is, the more they're on the boat, the more they get comfortable with it. They really, in my experience, kids have loved it. They'll sit on your lap. You can, let them sit on your lap while you're driving if it's not too busy out. And but I don't like the car seats for that safety reason of, God forbid something bad happens. I would rather them be bobbing in their life jacket than strapped into a car seat and starting to go down. That makes my heart freak out right now just saying that. That is one of my biggest fears when we had kids. I never thought about it when I was single, but we had kids and I started taking them to the water. And my biggest fear was, if they go under in the lake, we can't find them. And that gets me freaked out right now. And my kids are, they're 8 and 10, almost 11, swimmers. They love the water, but life jackets on all the time for that reason too. So, Chicago. So maybe in Chicago, depending on where you're boating, you might have a dry stack. And, Jamil, the dry stack option is awesome. You'll use your boat more. Typically, I worked the boat dealership I sold at. I was at the marina of it, and the people that were in the marina, I saw on the water way more often than the people that were on the trailer. Just because it's so easy. You can come out for an hour cruise, and all you got to do is tie it back up at the dock, and you're back. Versus, if we're a trailer, it's an hour to the lake. We got to mess with the ramp, and it's going to be, we at least got to stay out for 3 hours to make it worthwhile. So, as the owner, hopefully, truck diver, I always get that mixed up. You've been on several of these now. Hopefully I answered that for you as well. I like the insurance. I like to be, sort out the people I rent it to based on their experience. So, or use a captain. I don't know what kind of boat you have, but, you're welcome, Silver Stranger, and I will shoot you a message back here and we can hopefully get on the phone tomorrow or Tuesday. Dennis, you're welcome. Let's see. I would recommend one, especially if you're going to be beaching the boat, cut down on the scratches and nicks. Richard, sorry, I just skipped right over that. Richard, yeah, here's the key. Here is the key. If you're gonna use a keel guard, like Brock said, if you are pulling up on the sandbar, if you're pulling up on the beach, that's the only time you really need it. If you're just out cruising, there's no huge advantage to it. It's strictly for that sandbar and beaching the boat to keep the bottom gel coat in good shape. Here's the caveat with it is like anything, adhesive and water mix. You got to prep it right, and you've got to install it properly. Otherwise, 6 months from now, that keel guard is going to be flopping in the wind as you're cruising down on the bow because the adhesive came undone, and eventually it's going to rip. And now you've got that strip of adhesive that is going to get all gunked up and nasty with dirt and grime and whatever else that that needs to be dealt with. So if you're going to go that route, prep it 100% properly, and do everything exactly as they say. Take your time on that part because that's going to help it stick better. But I very, very seldom do I see those keel guards staying on, and it's 90% of the time. I think it's probably because of poor prepping. Yeah, and here's Brock saying you got to sand the area really well. Make sure you clean the residue with something that's a gel coat safe. Yeah, so that's the piece that just be diligent about that part. And if you're pulling up on the sandbar, I think you'll be glad you did it when you prep it properly. Yeah, that would definitely be. That's a boat that I think it's a good size to handle. Being in Charleston Harbor, I would want to make sure that they've got some boating experience, or I would want to put a captain, which is going to be easy enough to find down in that area, to run the boat for me. So, that 240's probably got a rating of 10, depending on what year it is, maybe up to 12. But I think the newer 240's from like, what was it, 2009, 2010 and newer, I think are rated for only 10. But that still gives you, up to the weight limit and, a good number of passengers with somebody that can, if you package it right, with somebody that can not only operate the boat for you so you don't have to worry about it, but they can be a tour guide. They can teach you how to wakeboard, or they can take you to the cool destinations. They can point out, the fort and the histories, and take you places where you wouldn't be comfortable going as a novice boater. And so I think in that area especially is, look at what others are doing in your area. And but it can certainly be a good option. $100 an hour, for a center console. Pontoons, $100 an hour, center console. You can probably, and I would look anywhere on the Carolina coasts from, from Myrtle Beach down to Hilton Head, and, see what deck boats are rated for, and, what kind of dollar amount you can get. And, if you know some folks that are captains down in that area that, hey, I recommend these three guys, and you can approve each captain to run your boat. So I think that could be a good opportunity for you. Okay, that was the keel guard. Yeah, Brock, I know you prepped it 100% right. And I think that's the key, is so many people just like, clean it and slap it on there. But that prep and I appreciate you sharing that. Brock is always has great information to share and add value on these lives. Um, it was a pain to install. I just caught that part. Travis, how you doing? I recognize the name. Been around the lake to know about Ozark Barbecue. Yeah, we're on Travis, we're on the um quite a ways away from Osage, but we're on matter of fact, our place is 2 co's over from the Nangua Bridge. So it would be the 3 mile marker on the little Nangua, or like a close 31 where the old Pier 31 used to be, 31 mile marker on the main channel. But we never in I've been going down there since I was 5, so 40 would be 43 years, I guess this summer I'll be 48 in June. And I've never eaten there, but I've got a buddy that his dad lived down closer to that area, and that Ozark Barbecue was a must stop multiple times when they came down to visit his dad. So but we are, I guess we're Travis right by, if you know the area, um the cave where they're putting the restaurant in the cave that used to be storage and it used to be houseboat rentals. That's right across the channel from us. 12. Okay. Yeah. So rated for 12. I mean, you can have a captain and put 8, 10 people on it. And I think that's a great option. Um, Truck diver, you're very, very welcome. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I'm glad that you get value when you come check out the content and listen to these lives. What would be normal insurance rate on a tri-tune? So what's your horsepower sustainability? I don't know. I think you've got a Bennington, if I remember right. Um, the horsepower is going to have an impact, but I would say on a inland lake, I think you're on inland water, probably 400 to 800 a year is about all it's going to be. It's certainly going to be under 1,000, even if you're a 450 Merc racing engine, um, or 425 Yamaha. That would be a 400 to 800 bucks a year is probably where you would be. QX4. Okay. Yeah, so that I would say, yeah, you're probably gonna be closer to the 800. Maybe that QX is a expensive boat with the 400. You might be getting close to 1,000, would be my guess. If you wanna get a quote, slash insurance, you can go 1,200. Okay. So, go, um so Boater Secret Weapon slash insurance will get you there, or this is the full page, boatersecretweapon.com/pages/boat dash insurance. But I think if you go boatersecretweapon.com/insurance, you can get a quote from my preferred marine insurance providers based on, and it's kind of based on the boat and the location. There's not a ton of logic in there. It's not sifting and sorting through hundreds of insurance companies, but I try to match you with the one that's going to be a good fair rate, or premium, and most importantly, it's also going to have the right coverage, which means it's agreed upon value, not market value. They're going to have faster turnaround times on if there is a claim, to get you back on the water quicker, because they only deal with marine insurance. And versus going to like your State Farm or Allstate agent, which is quick and easy, yes, but their coverage isn't as good. And a lot of times you can get better coverage for the same or even a lower premium. So if you want to check that out, you'll get matched up, and then be contacted. I've also talked to them about, no hounding people, but reach out. if you can be of assistance, be of assistance. And I say this to everybody: if the insurance quote is fair and it's in line, get it. They're going to take great care. If it's not, then if it's, hey, I can get better coverage or the same coverage in here, is then go that direction for sure. So yeah, it's so many people. If anybody listening has their boat insurance through their homeowners, or somebody that's not a marine specific insurance company, I'll encourage you to at least go get a quote from a marine insurance specific company. You can use this form and do it. You can just Google marine insurance providers, and it makes a big difference. Years ago, when I was selling boats, I interviewed Gary Swiggett, who was the president at one of the bigger marine insurance company providers. And I didn't know anything, but I knew this was information that my clients would need. They had to get insurance. And so I recorded it, and I gave it to everybody that wanted it. But it was really interesting to learn what mattered in marine insurance. And then when I talked to our service department, they said it's so much easier to get claims approved when we're dealing with a marine insurance provider that is marine insurance specific versus trying to deal with Allstate or State Farm. Matter of fact, I had one client, Herb and Ashley, they bought a pontoon from me. The first month they had it, they took it on vacation to the beach, and they got there late the night. They parked it, and if you've ever been to the beach in the Carolinas, the roads are narrow, but they parked it on the side of the road out front of their rental. Woke up the next morning, and boom, a drunk driver had smashed into it, totaled their brand new pontoon, their first boat ever. He didn't use my insurance company that I recommended him. He used his homeowners. Well, I think it was like $3,000 or $4,000 out of his pocket. And we worked with them on the price of the new boat, because he was buying two boats from us within a month. So we did the best we could on the price of the boat. But because of the value that they gave his boat after he drove off the lot, he still had to come out of pocket with a bunch of money. And had he gone with my marine insurance provider that I recommended him, he would have come out and he would have been no money out of his pocket, but just big hassle. So $600 a year on my boat from homeowners, a lot better coverage. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you all are running through your homeowners insurance policy, go ahead and get a quote from a marine insurance provider. And like I said, this will match you with a good one for the type of boat in your area, but anyone is probably going to be able to beat your homeowners, and they're certainly going to give you better coverage as a boater. So, all right, we're coming up on an hour and 15 minutes here. I'm going to do my quick little commercial. I've thrown some in already, so I'll make this quick. If you are a newer boater, the Boater Boot Camp. If you're a newer boat owner, the Boater Boot Camp, you just get it. It's free. It's awesome information, stuff you don't know. Boaterbootcamp.com. If you're a boat shopper, if you're still in that shopping phase, you can grab the toolkit for free. It's like 25 pages, and it's got checklists. It's got how to demo a boat, which we talked about how important was, even on a new boat, questions to ask dealers. It's just a lot of information. It's totally free. There's also a cost of ownership calculator. First Time Boat Buyer Academy. There's some negotiation questions or negotiation strategies in there, which even in this market are saving people money. Best boat captain on the water, best pontoon captain on the water, and Trailer Like a Pro, tow water sports with confidence. If you don't have the confidence to get on the water, get the programs that apply to you. They all come with the Happy Boater 100% money back guarantee. If for whatever reason you're not happy, you're not blown away by, man, this makes me feel way better. This is what I needed. You get your money back, no questions, no hassle, no nothing. Just here you go. Because I only want to give people a great experience, and I don't want to mess with, but you already watched it. It's just not worth it for me. Brian, thank you very much. I appreciate you making that contribution, and you're very welcome as well. You're very welcome. I can't wait. If you want to send me a picture of your family out in your boat, I would love to see it, and enjoying what the boating lifestyle can bring to you. All right, so that's that. Got my commercial in. What's the best way to secure on the release bracket? I have insurance. Curious. I don't know. Doug, I don't have an answer for that. Brock, okay, cool. The lock through the quick release pin, if you leave it on the boat, I take mine off every time since my cover doesn't fit with it on. Yeah, if anybody else has a suggestion on that, because I don't have any experience with trolling motors at all, let alone protecting them when it's just sitting on the boat. Do you recommend to buy yachts? Muhammad, there's what do you learn about boating? What do you learn or read when you're free, if not about boating? What? I like to read fiction, or nonfiction. Which the one that's not true? Nonfiction. That if I'm reading nonfiction, I'm reading business books, or boating books, marketing, sales and marketing stuff. I've got a bunch of that on my bookshelf there. If I'm reading just for fun, I really like Nelson DeMille, and some other not mystery, like crime solving books. So, but the buying a yacht or not, there's just too many questions of what you're asking. So, all right, that is going to be it, Muhammad. I appreciate the question. These are some odd things that you're asking. So, I don't feel good about those kind of questions. That seemed odd. All right, so Brock, thanks for chiming in as always. You're always fantastic. Brian, appreciate that. I think we're going to wrap it up here at an hour and 15. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for Memorial Day weekend. If I'm going to push the live to Monday night, because there's a good chance we'll still be on the water on Sunday. So just look for the post. There may be a change. We're going to stay at the lake Monday night and head home Tuesday, I think. So I think I'll do it from the lake Monday night, and that'll be more like a Sunday. So be on the lookout. You'll see it posted on Facebook and YouTube. I'll probably post it a couple different times as well, so that people aren't looking for us on Sunday and not finding us. Pre-drilled. Okay, awesome, Doug. I'm glad you got that. That's the thing I love about this group is I don't have to know the answer. There's a lot of very smart people that have a lot of boating experience that are joining in these lives, and they can share their experience too. So good. Do your test drive. Go through it fully. Like I showed you that hurricane, Silver Strangers experience. Just be diligent, and you'll come out on a great boat. Thanks, Brock. Enjoy Disney. Have a great time with the family, and everybody be safe out. If you're on the water for Memorial Day, be safe, have fun, pay extra attention to the other guy, because you don't always know if they're paying attention or know what they're doing. And we'll talk to you all next week. Take care, everybody.